The Staff 1 skill, the auto attack, is going to be a beam attack on a target, and it will do damage to the target, of course, but any allies in between you and the target will actually be healed by being in the path of the beam. And the second skill is going to be Astral Wisp. With this skill, you cast out an Astral Wisp onto the target, and it begins to circle the target, dealing damage initially, but then any allies that it passes through will be healed in the process as well. Yeah, Ancestral Grace is quite a bit of fun. It's a positioning-based skill, whether it's a movement-based skill that gets you into position to wherever you want to be. You can use it for escapes, you can use it for closing the gap, and it heals allies at the location where you end up. So this is kind of also a burst because it creates a blast finisher at that locale.
Nice. And the fourth skill on Staff is Vine Surge.
Yes, so this is the skill that many of you saw during the initial trailer for Heart of Thorns. This fires off a cascade of vines that shoot towards your enemy, doing damage and immobilizing them. And also, any allies, like those moose happen to be in the video, are freed of any movement impairing conditions in the process.
All right, so anything that passes through there is no longer doing damage, it's actually healing you.
Any projectiles, yes. Any projectile that would pass through there, from grenades to rapid shot fire, any missiles from scepter attacks, they all simply become healing pellets that now they're like delicious candy suddenly that you actually want to get behind and nom nom.
Nice. Okay, first one is Glyph of Rejuvenation.
Yes. So this is the heal skill. But the Druid is, again, a heavy healing class. The base version of this skill heals you for a lot. And it heals allies in the range, which is a pretty decent range, for less than you get. So Glyph of Alignment is a defensive skill as well. But what this does is it applies conditions, cripple and weakness to any foes in the target area, kind of giving you a chance to escape, mitigating damage, being supporty in the process. And it's a pretty decent wide area application. So you could do things like bust into melee for a moment to break this out, save your allies, and then throw down a Glyph of Rejuvenation at the same time to ease application. This essentially, again, buys you more time. This also does a mass area interrupt. Can strike up to 5 targets, and most of these glyphs have a radius of at least 300. So you're able to really splash this out. And Glyph of Alignment, I forgot to mention, also does a decent chunk of damage. Same with Glyph of Equality. So Glyph of the Tides. This is an AoE knockback for a 360 radius. So you can really knock back, take out, again, create an opportunity for you and any allies to escape or interrupt potential problems that any enemies are creating. I expect this one will see a fair amount of use in PvP, World v World. These are situations where basically taking someone out of the position they want to be in is really going to give you a role that's very impactful. So this is kind of the time when you want to let people know, hey, I'm about to do this. Break out all your huge damaging abilities and let's really chunk down a boss.
Time to hit things.
Yeah, exactly. And now we can move on to the final glyph.
No, forget it. Now I'm mad.
Okay, so the Glyph of Unity is it's your elite skill. It's doing something we haven't really done before. What it does is it tethers you to allies. So in your base form, what this does is any damage that you take during that time gets propagated. You deal damage to all enemies that you have tethered yourself to. So this is like you take 10 strikes, all enemies that you've tethered with this, say it's 3 enemies, say it's 4 enemies, each one of them is taking 10 strikes of damage from you for doing that.
Now, you're still taking it too. It's not bypassing you.
Right. All right. So I guess we now have to talk about the new class mechanic that's being added to the Druid.
That would be the Celestial Transform.
That's right. So the Celestial Transform is a new mode that you can actually enter using your F5. You build up your astral force using attacking and healing. Healing is going to be far more effective towards doing this. And when you do, you transform into a celestial avatar. You gain a completely new set of weapon skills any glyphs that you have equipped turn into the celestial form mode, becoming slightly better, a little less selfish.
First one, and what does this one do?
Okay, so Cosmic Ray is your one skill when you're in Celestial Avatar form, and what this does is it's a no cooldown, targeted ground application of just straight up strong healing. So you could essentially really pump out a lot of healing when you're in this mode, and support all of your allies who might be, reeling from damage that you were unable to mitigate beforehand. This gives you that opportunity. So Seed of Life is the 2 skill. What this does is it places a blossom that grows in the ground, and when it bursts, it heals allies and cleanses conditions as well.
Nice.
It's very likely that in the near future we're going to add another little bit of functionality to this skill, though we haven't done that just yet. But right.
All right, so Lunar Impact is what we have up. Now I'm double checking every single time because I'm scared I'm going to skip something again, and they're all pretty great.
Yeah,
all right,
you're doing
Lunar
well now.
Impact. This dazes enemies and heals allies?
That's right. So this is the 3rd skill on your Celestial Avatar form. What this does is it drops a lunar missile on you, dazing enemies and healing allies in the process. It's a pretty strong daze. So this is also something that you can be ready for to hop into Celestial form to, say, break a break bar or something else. Give your allies that opportunity. It's kind of the 2-in-1 that you don't have to use multiple skills for if you're not in Celestial Avatar form.
Awesome. And finally, Natural Convergence. This is my runaway skill.
So Natural Convergence, what this does is it immediately starts to cripple and harm enemies in the range.
Like
and
when you start casting.
Yes, that you're still casting. And if it completes, all enemies who are still in that range are immobilized and bled for 5 seconds.
Awesome. So while we were going through the skills earlier, you may have noticed a pet you haven't seen before. You were running with a tiger, weren't you?
That's right. There are new pets that will be available in Heart of Thorns. The tiger is only the first among them.
All right,
and
this is for all rangers, not just the druid.
That's right. So this is kind of the thing that all rangers are getting access to in the Heart of Thorns. They can acquire these new pets. The first among them is the tiger that you saw earlier. The one that you're now seeing is the smoke scale. It's a dinosaur that you can tame. And what this dinosaur can do is it can create a smoke field around itself that while it remains in it, it evades constantly and is immune to all conditions.
Looking at the bristleback now, who's way too cute for the damage he does. I'm sorry, he's adorable.
The bristleback is a very brutal condition-applying little guy. He is a dinosaur, but not of the same family as the smoke scale, so they actually get different family skills. And what the bristleback does is it consistently shoots its spines out at its targets, frequently applying bleeds to them. And its F2...
Now, we've been on the receiving end of a couple of these in the Beta Weekend events, so you guys probably know as well as I do how much they hurt. All right, this is the Electric Wyvern?
Yes, so you are getting you're getting baby wyverns in Heart of Thorns. The Electric Wyvern is one of 2. This one, they are both members of the same family, and the activate ability for the Wyvern is that it performs a head charge, stunning and knocking up any enemies that happen to be in its path. And there you saw it.
That is fantastic. The blowback with the wings, too. I absolutely love that he does that.
Yes, that's one of its family abilities. And yes, that knocks back enemies on the first actual strike. One other thing I didn't mention is at the end of the Electric Wyvern's charge, after it's knocked up any enemies that it has struck in the process, it also leaves a lightning field at the end of its charge. So that's another opportunity for you guys to create more play, use finishers there. Yeah.
All right, here's my guy, Fire Wyvern. This is my ranger's new pet.
All right, the Fire Wyvern, it is another wyvern, but this one does something that's pretty awesome.
This is so badass.
This is new tech that we've gotten. Its activate ability sends it into the air, and it, as you just saw, flies around creating a circle of fire that it breathes out. pulsing fire, dealing damage, and leaving a fire field at that location.